And here we are at 56 hours into this week's fast. That's right, 56 hours. We are moving. We are improving. We are becoming metabolically better. We are reversing diabetes. We're improving our cholesterol. We're improving our blood pressure. We are improving our weight. We're getting insulin resistance down. And we are becoming healthy. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We are creating the life we've always wanted. Welcome to the channel. If you are new to me, go ahead and put new in the comments because we'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music. And let you know that we are excited that you're here. If you've got questions as we move through our episode tonight, go ahead and drop those in the comments because we want to make sure that we answer those. Whatever platform you're joining us from, whether that's LinkedIn or Twitch or Facebook, and of course here on YouTube, whatever platform, we are excited that you're here. We're glad that you've taken a moment to come by and hang out and just learn how to be healthy. We're talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to reverse diabetes, get off medications, and who want to be healthier. But not just them. We're talking to anybody who are along that metabolic spectrum. So high blood pressure, high cholesterol, fatty liver, polycystic ovarian syndrome, obesity, metabolic syndrome, those people who have pre-diabetes, and of course those who are with diabetes, which is the prototypic metabolic disease. We're glad that you are in this space. And if you are watching us because you saw our content on some other platform, whether it's at your church, your community center, your doctor's office, I'm so glad that you are here hanging out with us to find out how we can be healthy and how we can improve our metabolism and how we can move to the next level. Remember, that's what we're doing, right? So I said Dr. Dwain Woode, that's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. We educate, we empower, we encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level, and create the life you've always wanted. And we're living... That's right. We're living limitless lives. And so we've got some exciting things that we're going to talk about tonight. I've got my monitors off to the side that we'll take a look at to see what's been going on with my blood sugars. I've got my Keto Mojo and, of course, my Contour. And then right down below me, that is my Dexcom Clarity Report, which we will take a look at as we move into the space so you can see what's been going on with my blood sugars over the last several days. I want to remind you that we are in the middle of, I should say the middle, we are in our MOVE campaign. That's metabolic optimization via exercise. And we've got two arms that are going on right now. That's our walking. And here you see me out walking in our neighborhood. Walking is an amazing component of our Limitless Living Health Action Plan, which we'll talk about here in just a little while as well. But make sure that you're getting out there and make sure you are doing what you need to do to keep your body active and to get those muscles moving, improve your metabolism, improve your hormonal regulation. The other component that we've got going on right now is our strength, strategy, and mindset. That's right, strength, strategy, and mindset. And so here I am out in my workout area. We're doing some curls and presses. We've got some squats that we're doing right out there. We're on the floor doing some dead bugs. Let's see, right now we're doing some lateral raises in this one. Let's see, down to the floor here somewhere I was. Let's see, where did I go? Right there. So here I am. I'm doing some pelvic thrusts. So all of this is part, as I said, of our metabolic optimization via exercise. So our MOVE campaign, and that is designed, all of those things are designed to give you a space where you can just plug in and you can, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just get over there, you join us as we are moving in those different areas. We also have our check-in that we do on a weekly basis as we start our fast. If you've not seen that yet, make sure you get over there and see what I ate for my last meal before I got into the fast. And then, of course, as we move through the fast, as we do move through those check-ins, you will see us talk about different things about fasting, how fasting fits in to what we're doing in terms of improving our health. So let me go ahead. I'm going to also go over, because I want you to see that we've made our website, our YouTube channel, and our website much more conducive for you to jump in and begin working and walking along with us. So here's our YouTube channel, and so we've streamlined the process. Right here, that's the, see where it is. This is the episode that you're watching right now. This is the one that's playing, that's live. But if you scroll down on the page, you'll see a playlist that says Start Here. And Start Here is designed to help you move along the pathway as we are giving you a blueprint, if you will, for how to do the things that we're doing and what are the pillars of the things that we are teaching here on the channel. In that playlist, if you click on it, there is in the description a PDF that you could download, a free PDF. I'm going to actually grab that link and we're going to pop it into our chat here in just a minute. But you'll see that the PDF, it breaks the videos into different components, and it tells you what you should be learning in that group of videos as you're moving through the space, right? So the PDF, you can download it. It's a free guide. You can begin your transformation with the Limitless Living companion to the video series. It's a 7-page document that we have, helps you understand what's happening in your body, apply tools like the Limitless Living Health Action Plan, Balance Bites, Cope, the Heat Model, and it helps you build your personalized weekly health plan. And you want to declare your commitment to reversing diabetes. There's a commitment statement that's in there that you get to sign, and that you get to say, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing. Okay, so that is the if you go to the channel, you'll see that playlist. If you scroll down further, there's another playlist that says this week's videos on Limitless Living with Dr. Dwain Woode. And this is the list of videos that we are doing this week. If you're interested in, okay, what are we doing this week? I know we've been walking through the path, but this week I've been gone for a while, or I'm here, but I want to kind of refresh my mind on what's going on. All the videos that we did for this week will show up in this playlist, starting, of course, with our flagship show, which is Dwain Woode MD Live, that starts on Monday, and that sets the tone for the rest of the week. And there is our strength, strategy, and mindset that we're doing. Here's our pop-up live, where you get to see what we're doing, what we're eating as we move through our fasting space, and then of course the check-ins that we're doing each day. Right, all of those each day there as we're moving, and we're congratulating people who are having good success in their health journey. And then, of course, the shows that we do at night, where we come on and we do teaching and talking more about fasting and the various aspects of our journey. So make sure you get over there and you watch that. If you go to our website, DwainWoodeMD.com, you'll see that same idea replicated on the website, because we've simplified that process here for you as well. There's a welcome from me, a video welcome, and then it says new here, start here. So there are 2 buttons that you're interested in. This one right here that says start watching videos, and this takes you to the playlist that we just talked about. And then on the other side, it says download your free guide, and this is the guide that I just mentioned, that allows you to click on it and download, so you can see what is in those videos, and it helps guide you through that process. When you click on it, and let me go back there for a second. There we go. Let's get rid of this guy. So when you click on that, right, it will explain a little bit more about what is going on, what that document is, and allow you to download. And it's a free download that you get when you go to the website and get that. Okay, so you can either get to that from the YouTube channel, or by going into the playlist, the description of the playlist, or you can get to it from the website. So all of those are designed to allow you to move through the space quickly and to help you get jump started into our process. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at blood sugars. And I am right now 56 hours into the fast, as I mentioned. And you'll see right now, so right here, you'll see my blood sugar this is my Libre, and it says my blood sugar is 62. So 62 is where my blood sugars are. And if you scroll down here, you'll see this graph. And earlier in the day, so right about, I don't know, 12 noon, the blood sugar dropped below 70. And you'll see before, you'll see the little white squiggly line. And that is before 70, above 70. And then when it turned red, that is below 70. So let's go ahead, let's take a look at some of these other reports that's in here. Here we are. So this is my time in range. You'll see time in range for the last 7 days has been 74%, with 26% being below target. So altogether, if I take both of those, then I am in target or below target for 100% of the time, right? So the reason that 74 is there is because 26% of that is actually below or hypoglycemia. But because we're fasting, that really is not a concern at this moment. So average blood sugar, you'll see up here, my average blood sugar is 90. Sorry, not 90, but 84. And we tell people usually we want their blood sugars to be between 100 and 120. And you'll see the averages there as based on the different times of the day. And then, if I go over, let's grab this guy. This is my Dexcom Clarity or Dexcom report. You see my blood sugar is 73. And then scrolling down right about here, that is my graph for the last 12 hours. Let's change that to, that was 3 hours. Change that to 24 hours. And I'm going to put my finger and kind of scroll through so you get to see what those blood sugars are. You'll see we're in the 70s, low 70s, upper 70s, 80s, 90s. All right, so for the most part, staying below 100. Sometimes dipping below 70, but for the most part, below 100 for most of the day. And so even here, you've heard me talk about the toothpaste effect, right? So my blood sugar spikes up when I brush my teeth in the morning, and you'll see even here. So we started out 5:30 about 77. And we did see a little bit of a toothpaste effect because we went up to about 97, but not as big a jump as we normally would see. So that's pretty exciting to me. All right, so now let's go ahead and let's take a look at my monitor. So I've got my Keto Mojo, and I've got my Contour. So let's grab some strips for the Contour. Blood sugar strip for the Keto Mojo, and we'll need a ketone strip, and then of course we'll need our Lancets. So let's go ahead and move that back out and get this set up. All right, so let's grab first of all a strip for the Contour. Get that out of the container. Get that in. And then begin opening these. So I'm going to open first of all. Actually, let me come back over here so you can have a better view. I'm going to open the blood sugar strip first and get that into my monitor. And so this is the Keto Mojo blood sugar. And while that's getting set up, I'm going to go ahead and open the ketone strip as well, because that's the one that's always giving me trouble. So let's get that out. All right, so here we go. So I got that out, and I'm going to just sit it off to the side, and then grab this is my Lancet, and you know I don't use the Lansing device. I just open that up, and there you'll see that's my needle, and then find a finger, and I've been picking on this finger, but that's okay. We're going to see if we can get a good drop, and there we are. All right. And not a brisk drop, but a good enough drop. Get that one started. Go ahead and get this one started. And so 51 is what you see there on the Keto Mojo, and then 60 on the Contour, and of course right there you'll see my Dexcom says that it's 75. I'm going to go ahead and get this out and start my ketones. So what do you think my ketones are going to be? out there, go ahead and drop a guess. What do you think they're going to be? And 56 hours, by the way, a little over 56 hours now since we started the show. Let's go ahead and get this one started. Let's make sure we get a good, yeah, there we go. Okay, and I see some of you are dropping guesses in there already. So what do you think is going to be? 56 hours fasting. 3, 2, 1, and 2.1. 2.1 is what my ketones are. So let's go ahead. I'm going to get over to my Keto Mojo app and go ahead and see if we can get that synced so we can have a conversation about ketones, right? So about ketones. So 2.1 is where we are. All right, and it says, so it's synced. And let's go over to this view. So we're looking at these three numbers right here. So the big number that's in the middle, and then the ketones are in blue, and then the glucose is over there, 51, in the red or brown, whatever color that looks like on your screen. And so when we're looking at these three numbers, we want that big number right there. We want that's the GKI, or glucose ketone index, which is a ratio of glucose to ketones. We want that to be as low as possible. We want the blood sugar to be low, and we want ketones to be as high as possible. So when we talk about ketones that are less than 0.5 are considered normal. So in your normal everyday functioning, if you're not fasting, if you're not doing a ketogenic diet, if you're not doing a fasting mimicking diet, then your ketones will be less than 0.5. 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis. So for those of you who are out there who are eating a ketogenic diet, we will fall in that range. And then, of course, for those who are above that, above 1.5, we're considered therapeutic ketosis. Okay, so how do we get that number, that 1.3? So if you're dividing 51 by 2.1, you're looking at that and you say, wait a minute, that is not 1.3. So the reason for that is that we have to convert the glucose to international units. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to pull up my calculator. So remember 51 and 2.1. So let's grab my calculator, 51 and 2.1. And so 51, in order to convert it to international units, we'll divide that by 18. And that gives me 2.8. And if I divide that now by 2.1, that's where I get that 1.3 that you see there right in the middle. Now, one of our community members, I think yesterday, showed or mentioned that there were some apps online that you can use, or some different calculators that you can use to generate and to calculate the GKI. So if you don't have a monitor that does it for you automatically, you can of course get out there and you will see some of these calculators. In fact, what I'm going to do is let me go over and let me show you this one. This is the website for the monitor that I have. Right, so my glucose, let's go ahead, you can put the glucose in. So glucose right here was 51. And my ketones were 2.1. And if I say calculate, it'll give me the GKI. So right here, right? So if you don't have a monitor that does it for you, and you don't want to take the time to do the calculation, you can find calculators online that will, let me get rid of that. Calculators online that will do it for you. Okay? All right. And now let's go ahead and let's take a look at my report. So this is my Dexcom Clarity report, and this is looking at 14 days. What my average blood sugar is 105, and I'm in target 95% of the time, and my glucose management indicator, which is a surrogate for the A1C, is 5.8. So if I were to get an A1C, I would expect my A1C to be about 5.8. If I change this over to the 90 days, I'm going to say 90 days, see my average is 114 with time in target 99% of the time, and my glucose management indicator is a 6.0. Okay. All right. Now, before we continue here, let me do one thing. I'm going to jump back over to this because I do want to show you what the graphs look like and talk a little bit about before we continue with blood sugars. So here is my graph, and here we are with the glucose of 51 and ketones of 2.1. And you'll notice that as that tan line, the tan line that you're seeing there, the tan line is blood sugar. So as the blood sugars have gone down, so from 108 to 64 to 51, the ketones have gone up from 0.3 to 2.0 to 2.1. And the reason for that is, remember that insulin blunts, inhibits, prevents the body from going into ketosis. And so if your insulin level is high, because your sugar is high, right? Because if blood sugar is high, then insulin is going to be up as well. If the insulin is high, then the possibility of going into ketosis goes down. And so as my blood sugars have been dropping, as you see right there, then as the blood sugars go down, my body is now switching into ketosis, and you'll see the ketones, which is that turquoise line, that is the dashed line that's going up. And so that's the reason. And when you hear me talk tomorrow, when you come through, we'll be doing the review of fasting, how to prepare for the fast, how to get through the fast, and then of course how to break the fast. In the process of talking about getting into the fast and getting through the fast successfully and getting the maximum benefit, we'll talk a little bit about how the blood sugars themselves can inhibit us having good success in the fast if we don't do a good job of preparing. Okay, so come on through tomorrow as we go through that process. All right, so back to blood sugar. So now let's go ahead and let's take a look at my daily graphs. And what I'm going to do is so here's where we are right now, so 75. And I'm going to scroll back and go to the beginning of our fast. So our fast, we started the fast right in here with a blood sugar of 99. And let's now scroll forward. So from the time we start fast to see what's been going on with my blood sugars. And so if you have not seen what I ate for my last meal, go back into this week's videos, and you'll see what I ate as my last meal. So I ate that meal, and then let's take a look at blood sugars. And you see 98, 105, 107, 115, 116, right, 114, 110. So not big spikes there. I think the highest I saw so far was that 115. Yeah, so here's a 115. And then from that point, the blood sugars started actually dropping further, right? So 103, 91. Remember, we started out at 98. Now, this is midnight right here. So going into the next morning, right, so we come in with 98, 91. Now, so it dipped into the 80s there for a little bit. Didn't stay there, up into the 90s. And here's this is my toothpaste effect right in here. So we got up to 108, I think is what I saw, the highest. And then for the rest of the day, continued in the upper 90s, low 100s. Upper 90s, so 90s, 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 and now we're dropping again down into the 80s. 80s, dipped into the 70s there just a little while ago. And notice as we're fasting, those blood sugars are continuing to go down, and we didn't really get a big spike. And so here's midnight again, and then coming into the next morning, which was this morning, now we're in the 80s, so 86, right, dropping down into the 70s, hanging out there. And here's the toothpaste effect. So we went from the 70s up into the 80s, up into the 90s, and then came back down. And so for the rest of the day, going down into the 80s, 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 and then down into the 70s. Did dip right here into the 60s for just a moment, back up, dipped again, just a moment, and then back up. And then for the rest of the evening, right, we've been kind of straddling that 70 line and going below 70 a little bit, up into above 70, below 70, below 70, up above 70, and down below 70, or staying right at 70. So one of the questions that people ask is right in this area. You'll notice that so I've been fasting at this point. Let's see. So here we were fasting this was 48 hours, right about here, okay? So if I'm fasting 48 hours, blood sugars are 76. and my blood sugars dropped below 70, right, down into the 60s, it popped back up and below and popped back up and below and then popped back up and then started going down and kind of stayed below 70, and it's just going up and down above that line. So the question people will ask me in that space is, why does it do that? Why doesn't it just go below 70 and stay there? And the reason for that is, remember, your body has the ability to take fat and break it down. Part of that goes to create ketones, which is what we're looking for. And part of it actually goes to create sugar. So your body still has the ability to create sugar from non-carbohydrate sources. In other words, you don't have to eat carbs. You don't have to eat sugar for my body to be able to convert and create sugar. So when people say to me, well, I haven't eaten for 6 hours, or I haven't eaten all day and my blood sugar is still high, yes, it is, because your body still, first of all, is using the sugar that was in there in the first place. So if you started out the day with the blood sugar of 110, 115, 120, right, and you're expecting that just because you didn't eat for today that the blood sugar is going to go down, not necessarily. So notice that I have not eaten for 56 hours at this point, and my blood sugar is still in the 70s. Okay? So the body, the reason that it fluctuates up and down above that 70 line is because my body still has the ability to create sugar from fat. So it's not that, okay, I haven't eaten anything and my fat cells are great, or my sugar is great, and so everything now is going to be okay. Now, we're looking for those blood sugars to improve as we fast. Right? We're looking for those blood sugars to improve as we fast, but depending on how high your blood sugars are, the body still has to process all of that and get rid of it. And so that can affect what we do in terms of blood sugars. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a quick check-in, and then we'll say hello to our community members who I do see out there. Thank you guys for coming through. So let's go ahead and... so when I talk about fasting and talk about checking in, there are 3 areas that I want to discuss. And these, as you heard me say before, are 3 also of the areas of our 3 of the domains of health: physically, mentally, and emotionally. And physically, when we talk about physical, we're talking about energy. So what is your energy? What is my energy like right now? Now, my energy has been good. I've not felt as though I'm sluggish. I've not felt as though I'm weak or hitting a wall, but I have felt a little bit more tired. I was actually, just before I came on, my son and I were out working out. And we do that 3 times a week together. So we were just out working out, and I commented to him that I was feeling a little weaker than normal, right? So normally I'm able to do those press and those curls without any issue. And I mean, not that I couldn't do it, but just a little bit more, a little less energy. Okay, but generally speaking, I'm feeling good. I'm not feeling as though I'm drained. We were actually talking about fasting workouts out there. So what happens in the body during fasting, and how does that help with the workout that we were doing? So physically feeling good. I'm not feeling lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty. I'm not feeling palpitations right now. Those are other symptoms that people will say they feel sometimes in fasting. Mentally feeling clear, not feeling cloudy, not feeling foggy-headed right now, and that tends to go along with how I'm doing physically. And then, of course, emotionally, as I've said, and when you're in the fast, when you're in this space, particularly on these longer fasts, then when those ketones get going, then the clarity that comes from that is amazing. It is, I don't want to say euphoric, but it borders on euphoric. People said they feel clear, they feel energetic, they feel more joyous when they're fasting as those ketones are flowing. So right now, in all of those domains, physically, mentally, and emotionally, feeling very, very good. All right, and let's go ahead and let's say hello to community members. I think I saw Gian was the first one that popped in. So let's say, Gian, she's saying, hi, doctor, and hi, LLG. Hey, Gian, how are you doing? Thank you for coming through. And I think you were guessing, she was saying 1.2, and you had it the turned around. So it was actually 2.1, which was a good number. 1.2 would have been a good number as well. So remember, when you're fasting, we're not necessarily looking for a particular number other than we want it to be above above 0.5. Right, because remember, below 0.5 is considered normal. And so if you're fasting, if you're doing a ketogenic diet, if you're doing a fasting mimicking diet, you want those ketones to be at least 0.5 or higher. And then Boy is saying hello, hi all. Gion says hi Boy, Boy hi Gion. Gion saying wow, I think that is in response to the ketones. And she said, Doctor's ketones are amazing. I love that. And then Gion has a question. She said, my dad got, I'm so concerned. That may be something that we need to answer offline. Recommend fasting. Let's do this. Let's talk. So remember, fasting has been associated. Let me go back here. Fasting has been associated with better responses to several cancers. Right? We did a show where we talked about some of the disease processes that fasting can affect. Now, specifically, prostate cancer is not one of those on that list. But remember, what fasting does is fasting resets our body. Fasting gets our body, and we'll talk about autophagy here in just a little while. So fasting gets the body ready to fight and to repair. So the reason that people talk about fasting and cancer is that the autophagy that happens during fasting, the autophagy is going out and it's eating up, is breaking down damaged, unused cells, right? And because of that, it is creating a more stable system for treatment for some cancers. And so, like I said, Gian, that's not one that's on the list, but I would talk to their his physicians and say, hey, we've heard that fasting helps people who have cancer respond properly for treatment. And if it's improving inflammation, improving immunity, and setting yourself up for success in terms of the cells being regenerated, I would tell anybody who has some cancer, if you have cancer, you've been diagnosed with cancer, fasting is a thing to try. Okay, so once again, can't say definitively that prostate cancer is one that we know responds. We've not done studies, but cancers in general are, they found that a lot of cancers respond better to treatment when we fast, because those ketones are, once again, doing a great job of supplying the body with energy, and then the autophagy that happens, hormonal regulation, improve inflammation, improve immunity, and of course that recycling process that goes on with fasting. So good question. Good question there, Gian. Let's see, and then let's get back over here. And so Steve is saying hello all. Hey Steve, how you doing, man? Thank you for coming through. And Gion saying hi to Steve. Thank you once again for being in this space and hanging out with us. So let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's talk about our topic for tonight. And here we are at 56 hours of fasting. Let's go ahead and have that discussion. Okay, so 56 hours of fasting. So what do we want to do in this space right now? So what I want you to do is I want you to understand, by the time we're done, right, what's happening metabolically and hormonally at 56 hours. I want you to realize that this stage of fasting isn't about willpower. It's about deep physiologic change. So at this point, the hunger is gone. And all that's left is what's going on up here, as we mentioned in our discussion last night. And so right now, physiologic changes are happening. So I want you to see how this connects to several of the things that we've been doing, the Limitless Living Health Action Plan, specifically fasting, right? And then mental mastery. And then recognize this step as a strategic turning point, not just getting through it, but building from it. Okay? And so our goal is to anchor this space, anchor this fast in our play your own game idea that we launched last week and continue. That is, how do I do the best job with my schedule, with my life, with my preferences in applying the things I know I need to do for my health, right? So we're going to anchor your identity in the truth that you are already healing and you are already changing, right? If you've been walking along this path, if you've been on this journey with us, you're already healing. If you've been fasting with us, if you've been walking through the Limitless Living Health Action Plan. So all of those. So those are some of the things I want us to make sure that we do as we move through this space, so that you know what's going on in your body. And for everyone, if you ended your fast yesterday, so you did a 24-hour fast, you ended it yesterday with us as we moved through, or you started your fast today, you're ending it, or starting your fast yesterday and you ended your 24-hour today, or you started your fast today during our check-in and you're ending it tomorrow, or you're doing the entire fast, my congratulations to, my hats off to you. I'm so excited that you've made a decision to take charge of your health and to do what you need to do and to put in place those things that are so important in your journey. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and let's talk. So what is going on at 56 hours, right? What does 56 hours really mean? Well, the first thing is, and we mentioned and we talk about the biggest benefit that we get from fasting, and that is that we are improving our metabolism. We're righting our metabolism. What does that mean? We know that metabolism is the process the body takes to convert our food into energy. And we know dysfunctional metabolism is what is at the heart, the crux of metabolic diseases, all the things that we've talked about: high blood pressure, high cholesterol, fatty liver, polycystic ovarian syndrome, prediabetes, diabetes, and all of those things, and even predisposing to cancers and to dementia. So metabolic disease. And underlying that is a hormone, and that is insulin. And so when we are fasting, one of the primary things that we're doing is regulating the metabolism, and one of the primary things we're doing is we want the insulin levels to go down. We want insulin to be suppressed. Because when insulin is suppressed, as we've said before, when insulin goes down, it allows my body the space to go and break down fat cells. And when we break down fat cells, we get ketones. So at 56 hours, with blood sugars that are low, my insulin level has to be low as well. And when my insulin level is low, then I'm in full ketosis. So at 56 hours, full ketosis is on the way. Autophagy is active, and cellular cleanup, cellular repair is peaking. Growth hormone is elevated, and this helps to preserve muscles, and it helps to keep fat burning, right? Because those muscles are metabolically active. Those muscles are pulling in sugar without having to use insulin. So my blood sugar continues to go down. So the body is in the process of using a source of energy that is clean, that is pretty ubiquitous, because we have a lot of fat cells. So all of this is happening because our insulin is down, and fasting is a perfect way of decreasing insulin. And then also there's the mental clarity and emotional stability that comes because we have regulation of some of those hormones. Our cortisol level, our ghrelin, our leptin, all of those are becoming now regulated because there's not this big dose of insulin in our body. And at this time, 56 hours, this is not starvation. This is healing. The things that are going on in your body, they are a healing process. This is strategy. And fasting is one of the pillars of our Limitless Living Health Action Plan. Remember, it is actually in Tier 1. When we started going through that process, Tier 1, walking and fasting together. So now it's 56 hours. Mental mastery, right? One of the pillars in Tier 3. This begins to emerge naturally because we've got those hormones that are coming out, beta hydroxybutyrate, brain-derived natriuretic factor, and those are hormones that supercharge the brain. So fasting makes it easier to observe, to reflect, and to reframe. At 56 hours, all of those changes are happening. All of those things are happening in our body, and we are primed. You heard me say before that fasting is a reset. Fasting resets the system. We're primed for the benefits that come down the road. So what's the mind shift that happens at 56 hours? What is that mind shift that happens at 56 hours? Well, you don't white knuckle your way through this stage. White knuckling means just hanging on for dear life with your fingertips, right? Everything in your body is saying, let's get out of this. And you're just, barely hanging on. That's not the space that we want you in. We want you in a space where you're listening your way through. Hunger at this point is low because we're well beyond the call of carbohydrates, well beyond the call of sugar. Sugar should be low at this point. If sugar is low, then insulin is low. And remember, insulin is an appetite stimulant. So if that's low, then my appetite is going down. Because I've got ketones in the body, the ketones will help to re-regulate the hunger and the satiety hormone because the insulin is now not causing problems. Ketones will help me feel full. Ketones slow my GI tract down. So at this point, my body is doing everything it possibly can do to prevent me from hunger. Physically prevent me from hunger. And now what I'm fighting is the noise that comes from my brain. But even that during this period is low because, as I mentioned, those brain-derived natriuretic factors and the beta hydroxybutyrate, they help me to have some clarity of thought so that I could observe what's going on in me without reacting to it. I now have the thought, I have the brain power to respond when things come at me rather than react. I want you to notice the change and the difference between those two. Reacting is a reflex. Right? It's kind of like when we do physical exam. You know, you've seen the doctor hit the knee and then the leg goes like that. You can do the same thing on the arm, by the way. That is involuntary. It's just a reaction. It happens. This happens and that happens. There's no thought. But when we respond, that now takes thought. And we, during this period, because we have the mental capacity, because the hormones are helping our brain chemistry work better, we have the capacity now to think through what we're doing. The subconscious gets louder. So we want to ask, what stories are surfacing now that food is no longer the buffer? What stories are coming up? This is a perfect time for us to practice our COPE model. Remember, clarify, observe, pause, and execute. What emotions are here now? Because we know it's not hunger. It's not a hunger thing. So what is it? What is it? Is it stress? Is it anxiety? Is it depression? Is it worry? Is it boredom? Is it fatigue? What is it? And where do I feel that in my body? Observe that. Just be mindful. So clarify, observe, pause. What are the feelings? What are the feelings? What are the feelings that I'm feeling? So we're going to pause. We're going to process. Pausing allows our brain to take over. Remember, the amygdala and the limbic system are the fight or flight survival system. You see a tiger and it says run. There's no thought. It's a reaction. It's not a response. But why, when you go to the zoo, don't you run? Because you see the same tiger, but the prefrontal cortex says to your rest of your brain, hey, there is a tiger, but the tiger is behind the bars. You see what happened? Same situation. One is a reaction from the limbic system and the amygdala. The other one is a thoughtful response from the prefrontal cortex. And so when we pause, it allows the prefrontal cortex to take over. So clarify, observe, pause, and then execute and evaluate. Now, execute is a very interesting one. So what new truths can I practice now? And what new tool have I learned that I'm going to implement? I want to say that again. Notice the last part of what I said. What tool have I learned that I'm going to implement? You cannot learn the tool at that time if you're going to be successful. It's kind of like being in a car and driving and getting into an accident and then deciding you're going to put on the seatbelt. At that point, there's no use. You have to have put the seatbelt on prior to getting into an accident. And you don't want to get into an accident. You don't want to get into a MVA. But if you do, you've got the seatbelt on. And that's the same thing here. The tools that you have to learn, they cannot be learned in the middle of the situation, because by then you're in it and whatever's going to happen is going to happen. The amygdala is taken over already. So you have to have practiced those tools prior to the situation. That's why the COPE model is so important. Clarify, observe, pause, and execute, so that you are able to process that in the middle of the situation, because you've looked at it over and over and over and over and over again. You're not just avoiding food, you're facing the parts of you that food used to silence. And that execute is, okay, I'm doing something different from what I normally do. So a mindset shift at 56 hours. That's what's going on. And then, how does this advance metabolic healing? How does this advance metabolic healing? Well, cellular repair is reducing inflammation during this process. We talked about autophagy. So inflammation goes down. Remember, inflammation causes insulin resistance. That's why people who monitor their blood sugars, when they become sick, the blood sugars go up. Why? Because there's inflammation. If you have rheumatoid arthritis, you will find that during that, when you have a flare-up of rheumatoid arthritis, blood sugars are higher. People who have other inflammatory process. As a matter of fact, we are learning that obesity, central obesity, That abdominal obesity is an inflammatory process. So it gives off cytokines that makes the body resistant to the use of insulin. And so the insulin level goes up and it causes all those downstream things. We used to think that, oh, they just have a pot belly. Well, no, they do have a pot belly, but that fat that's right there, it causes problems. And then visceral fat. That is the fat that's wrapped around our organs. So within our body, around the organs, there's a layer of fat. As we put on more and more weight, as we become more metabolically dysfunctional, then that layer gets thicker. So our heart is encased in visceral fat, that's making it difficult for it to function. Our lungs, our kidneys, our liver. The other thing that's going on is neuroplasticity. Right? So neuroplasticity gets better. So BDNF, brain-derived natriuretic factor, is rising, making the brain more adaptable. Which is why during this process, during fasting, people say, I feel clearer. I made some connections that I didn't make before. Why? Because all of a sudden, there is miracle grow on the brain. Cortisol is beginning to level off. Remember, cortisol is that fight or flight hormone. It is the one that causes elevations in glucose because it goes out and finds energy. And cortisol is beginning to level off. Cravings are replaced by clarity. This is where real metabolic change locks in. Not because of what you didn't eat, but because of what your body is finally able to do because it has the space. Right? It has the space. Before, there was food noise. Before, we were buffering, keeping the blood sugars elevated. Before, insulin was high because of the high blood sugars. And so our minds were clouded. Our hormones were dysregulated. But now that we've given the body space, the body can go through and do all of those things that we just described. Because there's quiet now. 56 hours is a milestone. It's a milestone moment. It's a time for realizing how and why we need to play our own game. And that's what we've been talking about in our series. Awareness, understanding what is going on. Awareness, understanding the objective data, understanding the objective outcomes that we're looking for. Rewriting the rules so that those rules fit within us, not throwing out the objective measures, but rewriting the rules so that we are doing the things that we need to do in our own space, in our own circumstance, in our own preferences. And living by the blueprint that we've come up with. Learning how to fast. Learning how to make sure that we're doing what we need to do. Installing the new operating system within us that says, hey, this is how we do things now. And so here's some questions I want you to ask as you are in this fasting space. What is fasting teaching me about myself right now? I encourage everybody to journal, right? Because there are connections that you will make. Write it down. What is fasting teaching me about myself right now? How has my relationship with hunger shifted? Do I understand more about hunger? Do I understand where it's coming from? Is it physical hunger or is it psychological hunger? Where are those cravings coming from? That's 2. Number 3, what are you ready to let go of? You've heard my story about letting go, falling out the raft, being under the raft, unable to breathe, and not letting go, but realizing that I could not stay there. And it was not until I let go that the benefits came. And that's been a transformative process. So what are you ready to let go of? And what new rhythm are you finding that's emerging in you? Remember, rhythm, alignment, and structure. What rhythm are you finding? What new purpose are you finding? What new goal and desire are you finding? What new why are you finding? Remember, you're not just getting through the fast. You're getting through to yourself. We're not just white knuckling our way through this fast. We are learning, we're building. We are in the process of reversing our diabetes and improving our metabolism. And we are moving into a space where ourselves, this thing, this person, is growing, expanding, getting better, and understanding what's going on in me, in you, is an important step in that. So I want you to get a journal, get a piece of paper, answer those questions. Answer those questions. Number one, what is fasting teaching you about yourself right now? Number two, how has your relationship with hunger shifted? How has it changed? Number three, what are you ready to let go of? And number four, what new rhythm is emerging in this process? Yeah. If this depth is stirring something in you, imagine what structure around it could do. Putting a space where you are in the process of moving in that direction, not just today, not just tomorrow, not just next week, but going forward. And that's the space that we want you to be in. So fasting and are playing your own game paired together. Oh man, that's amazing. Stay by. So if you are out there and you said, man, I gotta let go of some stuff, or you're in the process of metabolic improvement, and you say, man, I've tried this before and it hasn't worked. I keep going through this circuit. I keep going through this cycle. I keep going through, right? If that's you and you're ready to get off of that, make sure you get over to our website tomorrow, which will show up. Our accelerator program is launching tomorrow. Make sure you get to our YouTube channel, Accelerator Program. The Accelerator Program is a vehicle that takes the things that we're learning, combined with our coaching, that says, hey, I am not just doing this right now. I am setting myself up for success into the future. I'm installing a new version of my operating system in me. It is for those who are ready to codify this into a lifestyle, rather than trying this and trying that and trying this and trying that. Let's install a system within our lives that takes us in the direction of success, that improves our metabolism and helps us be healthy. Remember, we're not just, here's a good, we're not just talking about blood sugars. I guess let me make that point. We're not just talking about weight. We're not just talking about blood pressure. We're not just talking about your cholesterol. What we're talking about is, how am I going to be as healthy as possible for as long as possible? How am I going to do what I need to do to make sure that I'm around for my grandson or my granddaughter? How am I going to what am I going to do to make sure I'm around for my daughter who's going to get married, or my son who's just going into college? What am I going to do to make sure I'm around so that when my wife retires or my husband retires and we can begin traveling together and taking advantage of all the work that we've put in all these years? That's what we're talking about. We're talking about a space of success that keeps you healthy as long as possible so that you can enjoy the things that we say the reasons why we want to be around. So what's the point of working all those years and then getting to the end of the work and can't enjoy the process because your metabolic diseases are taking their toll? Or imagining the family, the grandchildren, and teaching them how to do the things that you do and passing that on to the next generation, but can't do it because you've had a heart attack. You can't move around. You're going blind. You're on dialysis. All those things that we talk about, we don't want to be there. I'm going to tell you, for me, being around for that young man that I talk about here all the time, and being around for my wife, I couldn't stay where I was. I had to let go, and I had to do something different. And the journey that we're on is the journey that I want you to be on as well. So come join us in the Accelerator program. You'll see that coming out tomorrow, actually. So go to the website, look for that link. And if you're in the community, you'll see that popping up. DwainWoodeMD.com. DwainWoodeMD.com. All right, so let's go ahead and let's say, just so for everyone, actually, let me do this. I do see, pop this up. I see A Jelly Bird, 56 hours fasting. It says, why does my stomach rumble if I'm not hungry? So very, very good question. You know, we did a show a little while ago, and it was called How to Trust Your Body Again. Now, we have gotten used to certain signals in the body, and those signals, we've associated them with hunger. For example, growling stomach. We think because the stomach is growling that it's hungry. No, the growling stomach simply means empty. And empty does not equal hunger. Remember, hunger is a physical need for energy. And most of us have 100,000 calories in excess. So we don't need energy. But every time our stomach growls, we've associated that, hey, hunger. And so it growls, we eat. We growls, we eat. It growls, we eat. So when we're fasting, the stomach is still going to growl because it's empty. But our brain says, okay, that's an eating signal. No, it's not. The same thing for people who are who have indigestion. Remember, your body is used to making acid to break down the food that goes in. So even when you don't eat, when you first start fasting, the acid is still being generated. And some people can have indigestion in that case. So there are all these signals that we've now associated with hunger that really aren't necessarily a signal for hunger, but we've associated them with it. Remember, the stretch of our stomach causes ghrelin to go down, right? So when our stomach gets stretched, then ghrelin goes down, and ghrelin is the hunger hormone. So when the stomach is stretched, it's full, ghrelin goes down, and our brain says, okay, stop eating. As the stomach gets less and less stretched, then ghrelin goes up, and it says to the brain, go eat. Well, we are so used to having our stomach so stretched, abnormally stretched, that even at a normal space, our ghrelin, because the ghrelin is dysregulated, our ghrelin is high. So notice what I'm saying. So your stomach is normally like this, and that stretch would cause your ghrelin to go down. We've overstretched it so that out here now is where it has to go before the ghrelin gets suppressed. That is not a normal space. But we've trained our bodies to do that. And so what's going to have to happen is we're going to have to train the body so that the normal stretch is the signal now that gives us, hey, you can stop eating. But very, very good question. I love that question. We need to come back and do another show on that. So thank you for putting that in. All right, and so one of the things that I always want to let everybody know is that this space is designed for you to be able to plug in to get the metabolic benefits that you're looking for. So that's why we educate, we empower, and we encourage. Everything that we do, every time you hear me teaching, I am thinking through educate, empower, encourage. How do we educate? How do we make a mindset shift? How do we let people know what's going on in their bodies? How do we get them to understand that? What tools do we give them to help them to apply those things? So we educate, we empower. The empowerment comes from the tools, and the encouragement comes from the community. We educate, we empower, we encourage. And that's the triple E formula for success that you hear me talk about all the time. So when you show up, I love that you are listening. I love that you're getting mindset changes. But I want you to be empowered. And the empowerment comes from the tools that you get and that you learn. So when you come, don't just listen. I want your actions to infuse the tools that we do. That's why the Limitless Living Health Action Plan is named the way it is, because it's an action plan. It requires your behavior, it requires your movement for it to work. So come through, become active, get involved in the community. And Limitless Living says that we are not doing this on our own. We're not doing this by ourselves. We are improving the community around us. So when you're getting benefits, when you're having those mindset changes, when you're seeing physical changes in your body, when your blood sugar goes down, when your A1C improves, when your doctor takes you off of medication, then send somebody, bring them to this space. We've made the YouTube channel, we've made the website as simple as possible for people to jump in and begin walking along that path and walking along that journey with us. That's the goal. That is what we want. So be a disciple and be a proponent for your health. Your family members, your community members, your friend group, your church, your community center, your neighborhood, your parents, your children, your cousins, your mom and them, all of those people can benefit. In fact, one of the most recent things that I heard, one of the studies that I saw said that upwards of 90% of people in the United States have a metabolic disorder. That's an incredible number. And you get to be a voice that says, hey, we don't have to keep doing this. We can improve what we do. Hey, we will continue as we move through the rest of this week. This video will show up in this week's videos. We'll be back tomorrow for our complete review of fasting, how to start a fast or prepare for the fast, how to get through the fast, and then, of course, how to break the fast. You get to see what I'm going to eat for the first time after 72 hours of fasting. So come on through. We'll do that right about 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock is what we do. As you know, that time is shifting a little bit, but at 1 o'clock, come on through. And then on Saturday, video from the vault at 9 p.m. Central. Sunday, we'll be back for This Week in Review at 6 a.m. Central. And then next Monday, We'll be right back here for Dwain Woode, MD Live at 7 p.m. Central as we get through the space. We're celebrating the anniversary of our channel coming up here this month. You'll see the Accelerator program coming out tomorrow, so make sure you get there and make sure you sign up for that so that you can begin installing that in as a regular part of your body, of your process of being healthy. I'm excited that you're here. Thank you for coming through. I'm always glad to see you in this space. This is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives. And that says that we are not allowing anything from outside or anything from inside to prevent us from doing what we need to do. We're showing up with our best self, our best health, and our best plans. Good night, everybody. We'll see you later.